Hey, what is going on, everybody? Boilon here, back for another video on Marvel Strike Force. Today, we're going to be talking all about Freedom Spire, aka Kiln Tower, because I do have the data mine file showing all of the enemies on the new nodes on floors 50 through 58. Now, this is going to be your Liberty, Mighty Avengers, and Liberty and Immortal X-Men, and I have recently built up Falcon Joaquin because after seeing what I've seen, I am not really that convinced that the other teams are going to make it. This may have been a bit premature, but I think that based on what I've seen, it's not very good. That being said, we are going to be doing a full review of some of the other floors as well. You know, kind of taking a look at for all players, right? You know, what characters are available, especially on the lower floors, because they're bringing back a Kiln Tower from like 6 to 9 months ago, maybe 9 months ago. I don't remember how long it's been. The full tower of like 50 plus floors, right? And it's been a while since we've had that because the last time they kind of dumbed it down to like 20-ish floors. Now they're back to the old structure, but they're keeping all of the same traits. So I do want to review those and see what kind of new characters are on that to make it a little bit easier for new players. So let's start this up. So let's boil this down. I'm gonna fix that intro lag. That's weird. Okay. All right, let's just start here, right? This is the blog post with all the restrictions. It might have been some time since you've seen this, right? So we're not going to go over every single one in the game because we can eyeball this, right, in terms of like what newer characters are available, I think. In the past, cells 1 to 4 was often used to build cooldowns for certain characters later on, especially like in the like this kind of range here, but I'm not sure how necessary it is now to do that. I feel like because of gear tier 19, which was, you know, previously capped at 18, you know, you're probably overpowering some of these nodes now, and so it's probably not that necessary. So do keep that in mind. There might be I don't know, like you could isn't there Annihilator somewhere down here? Like you could charge up Thanos Endgame's ultimate or something like that, or Nightcrawler's ultimate. I don't even know if that's an option. I don't even know if you need that. It's gear tier 17. It's so old. Anyways, let's get started. So cells 5 through 7, Guardian or Infinity Watch. This is helpful now, right? Because now we have Rocket and Groot at the very least, and then there's also Moondragon. So if you have any of those characters built, I would probably do it super early anyways. So even if your Rocket and Groot is just barely leveled, you're probably going to clear this. The Avengers, this also probably is not really a big deal now because there is all of it. Like the Uncanny Avengers, the raid teams, that's all Avengers, Mighty Avengers. So there's more than enough. And these are low floors, right? This is like, we're talking like gear 12 kind of crap. Global skill, Capsam, right? Just off the top of my head, Peggy Carter isn't also skill, right? So there are some other characters, some newer characters, I'm sure. You know, I don't want to focus too heavily on some of these. City Mystic, that is something I am a little bit curious about because there isn't any new characters, like especially in the city front, right? Maybe I'm wrong. Elektra. Oh, sorry, my bad. Blade and Oath. Yeah, okay, they should carry that for sure. Blade and Oath are going to carry that. Moon Knight, I guess, if you have them leveled up a little bit. Spider-Man Noir. Elektra eventually in the future as well. I think my biggest concern about this kind of kiln is whether or not there's going to be any hangups, I suppose. And the other issue actually is that, like, if you screw up later down here and you have to redo the tower, like, there's no checkpoints as far as I'm aware. And that's the only problem, is that if you do screw up, you're going to have to start all the way from the bottom. As Guardian, there's Odin, right, for veterans. But outside of that, it's not great, right? You have Vol and Hela, I suppose. So it's probably still doable, you know, even if you skip Bifrost. Hopefully you have Vol, because Vol's an MSF original, which you would have needed for Apocalypse. So you might be able to carry this, honestly, with just Vol. I think it's low enough that it's not that difficult, but I can't remember this particularly. I think because, you know, this was at a time where I think you're looking at gear tier 14 around here. So I think Vol probably should be able to carry this. Spider-Verse tech or Spider-Verse skill. Now, Spider-Verse skill is obviously your Spider Society. Tech was, I believe, like Sinister Six type character. So not really that big of a deal there, I think. Global Mystic. I'm struggling to remember what teams this would be off the top of my head without actually looking. Global Mystic. Oh, okay. Agatha, Ancient One, Man Thing. Okay, that helps. Hercules, Captain Britain. There we go. Okay, so it's not that bad. You could find 3 characters in there, I'm sure, that are more relevant recently. A Global Mystic at gear tier 16, Villain Mutant at gear tier 16. Now, this was a little bit tough, but now we have Shadow King. If you have Shadow King, right? For newer players, there is well, I don't know if it's new, but Apocalypse, Dawkin, if you're still running Mercs for Money, Villain Mutant. That's more recent. I mean, I think this is going to be a new thing coming soon, right? We have Hellfire Club and possibly Dark Descendants, Omega Red Phoenix Force. If you did level them, I did not. Apocalypse, Namor, Dawkin. Yes, it's not great. If you don't have Shadow King and you don't have Apocalypse, it's pretty bare bones, I got to admit. So hopefully that if they keep this structure in Kiln Tower, that they do find something going forward on that front to cover that whole Hero Tech. Hero Tech. Now that was Pegasus. Like this used to be Pegasus. Um, there is some niche characters, right? Falcon Joaquin is Hero Tech. Vision. Oh, Rocket, of course. Rocket, Howard the Duck, Guardian. Okay, so it's not as bad. Okay, there's a lot of characters. Penny Parker, I guess, if you have to as well. Hank Pym. Okay, it's not as bad as I thought. X-Men. That's not a problem either. Extreme X-Men, I would probably leverage that. There's also Emma Frost X-Men, some of the new Storm, right? Any of these other characters who you might end up using later on. Actually, you know what? That might be a good idea to pre-charge Storm. You know, I was just thinking about that actually, because if you do try to use Storm in the Immortal X-Men section, I don't know how successful this necessarily will be, but you might be able to at least use Storm to like blow through one wave, and that might get you somewhere, right? You know, but I do think that you're probably going to need Liberty because their text is active. Then we have Legendary. Again, that shouldn't be a big problem if you've been keeping up with the game. This is at gear tier 18, so I expect this to be, you know, not end game players, but getting there, right? So Legendary, Old Man Logan, Shadow King, um, yeah, Green Goblin Classic. I don't know, right? Any of the more recent ones, right? That should more than carry it. Old Man Logan will probably carry it because I don't think he was out when this came out. And then we have Villain, Bio, or Undying. Now, in the past, this was like Carnage, Venom, and Super Scroll. When it first came out, that was it. Like, that was the best thing to do. Nowadays, you probably could use, because this was before Zombie Scarlet Witch, so you probably could do this. But I'm trying to think about Villain, Bio characters. Oh, Gore and Gladiator, duh. Right? So you could just do that. Super Scroll, Gore, Gladiator, done. Right? That's probably fine too. There you go. So that's not too hard now. You should be at the point, I think, that if you're doing these floors, you should have Super Scroll. That was pretty much the requirements before when this came back. Spider-Verse skill. Again, we have Spider Society, Cabal, or Underworld. It's my understanding Underworld was dog shit, so please don't do that. You're probably going to be forced to use Cabal, and if you don't have Cabal for whatever reason, then you're not getting any further, I suppose. Orcus or Alpha Flight. I remember doing this. Alpha Flight was dog shit, and then Orcus was better. Orcus could also do 50 through 52, but you could also use Annihilators. Neither was really a big problem. Both of them were fine. And then we're on 53 through 58. And so before we get to there, though, what I do want to talk about is the milestone. So you can find the milestone in game here, right? It is available. If you didn't notice that it's there, where blah 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 blah, and we get to the oh no, it should have been here. I'm pretty sure I saw it. Oh, it's in the event section. My bad. Sorry, guys. Yeah, it's over here. Freedom Spire preview. And then what's interesting, and there's a lot of good rewards in the gold and training module front. There's a fair bit there. And you're going to need to do this in order to get progress into the main event milestone for next week, which we will cover in tomorrow's event video. I'm not going to be breaking that down here today in terms of the math, but this is going to be really important in making as much progress as you can. There's a lot of gold mods, but as you get to about like halfway down, you start to collect maybe a little bit more than half. You start to collect X coins, and there is a lot of X coins up for grabs in this event. There's a grand total of 562,500. It's a weird number, but 562K basically of X coins, which is a lot of additional X coins. Sorry, a lot of additional G20 minis if you get all the way down to the bottom. It's about 45 from my calculation, 45 G20s from this alone. And of course, all of the milestone points are going to feed into the main one, which is a leaderboard, which is going to get you more G20. So making progress on this event is going to be very important. There's a lot of purple ions and ISO stuff if you still need that. And then when you get towards the top, that's when you start getting the diamonds for Patriot and more X coins as well. And it's very heavy on the milestone points, basically from 52 onwards. You can see the jump from the floors is every floor, but 750 to 3,000 to 7,000 is dramatic. So 52 plus, right? So the new floors are 53 through 58. And that's where you're going to get the diamonds for Patriot. You can see that here. And 57 is very large in the X coins, but 16.5 thousand points for floor 58 is quite brutal. So if you miss this, like that's probably going to make or break a lot of rank, like good ranks in the leaderboard. So that's going to be really important to do. And that's where we're going to pivot. Oh, actually, you know what? Now that I say 12 days? So I think this is going to last for 10 days. I think that's what is that what I saw? Was that it's going to last for 10 days. So if you subtract the time from now, 2 days, 14, it's 10 days. But I want to make people understand that, if you don't do this within the first 7, you're not going to get the event milestone. The event only lasts for 7 days before the leaderboard. So you will have 3 days at the end, but you won't get the milestone points for the event, right? You're just going to get the rewards. So make sure that you do clear this within the 7 days when it comes out on Monday, but I will remind people about that as well. So I want to jump into the nodes of 53 to 58 and why I think Liberty is probably going to be it. So most of the enemies on these floors are G19 level 105. I want to make that clear as well, except for where I've stated otherwise. Most of them are like 2 diamond or 3 diamond. I took a look through the JSON file, and that's what I saw. And the other thing that I want to mention is that there is no modes activated except for what they stipulated for Liberty. And that was in the blog here. I'm pretty sure somewhere up here, yeah, this part here, which is from the data mines, right? If you caught my data mines video, then you would have known this. But it said that within the walls of Kyln's walls, Falcon, Patriot, and Peggy's abilities, maybe it's up here somewhere, that it'll be met, right? Any text that says 3 or more allies or in war as well, all of that's going to be activated. But for Mighty Avengers and Immortal X-Men, they are not going to have their game mode bonuses, like I guess the previous time when Hercules and Jean had their stuff activated. So the enemies on floor 53, we got Shadow King, Ancient One, Ares, Black Knight. Okay, so we got now they're not going to have as far as I'm aware, they're not going to have their game modes activated either. So war buffs won't be activated for them. Ares will not steal your buffs, or he shouldn't. As far as what I've seen, that I'm pretty sure it applies to both sides in this context. But it's still quite powerful. You have 2 on-spawn Black Knights, and immediately what I'm thinking of is that in order to circumvent this, you need the Liberty team that places taunt on the other enemies, right? Like that's part of their kit. So that's how you get around Black Knight. Otherwise, you're stuck with Mighty Avengers, and if you're using, I mean, I without the war buffs, I just don't see Falcon. Hercules won't be able to steal buffs, and the team won't be able to steal buffs because you need the full team anyways to do that. I think it's going to be really hard, right? And then you have Oathblade and another Black Knight. So right off the bat, you're being hit with some pretty powerful characters, and they're level 105. This is important because I don't even have mine at level 105 yet. My Cap Sam's at 100. I'm going to leave them at 100 and see how these floors go to start. I might have to take them to 105 to clear this, which is probably going to be worth it if I get it done, because the amount of X coins and event milestone points, which will get me more G20s, that's what this is about. This is basically like for most of us at the top anyways, this is how many G20s do you want to get? And that's going to be a function of leveling up your Liberty, in my opinion. If somebody else gets it done with Mighty Avengers, I would be pretty impressed, I think, because you'd have to get through 3 nodes, and Mighty Avengers do not heal. So that's a bit of a problem there as well, which is why you need Falcon and Joaquin. Okay, so that's floor 53. Floor 54, we have an Apocalypse, Gore, Gladiator, 2 zombie Scarlet Witches, Hank Pym, Captain Britain, regular Scarlet Witch, and zombie Juggernaut on wave 2. I don't know how many you have to kill before the second wave drops. I didn't look that up. It's in there in the JSON file, but I didn't bother to check. I don't think it matters that much, but probably after you kill a couple of these, then the second wave drops, right? Same as above. It's not starting off hot, right? Seeing Apocalypse, like if he's big, I don't know if he's supercharged with big Apocalypse. He probably is. Thankfully, Zombie Scarlet Witch does not have the war buffs, so that might make some of these things easier. But Hank, it's not easy, right? Gladiator's gonna spawn taunt. I don't see Mighty Avengers clearing this. That's just my thoughts. And a Zuggs who's gonna spawn taunt as well. Floor 55. And this is the final section of the Liberty or Mighty Avengers section. We have Old Man Logan. We have 2 Dawkins. We have a Kahori. I want to make this very clear. that Kahori has on spawn speed bar, and you need Falcon to stop this because Falcon does prevent on spawn speed bar from activating. Okay, if you're using Mighty Avengers, you're gonna get fucked by Kahori's special, which she should get around to, I'm pretty sure, right? And that's gonna hurt. You have 2 Sasquatches, so you're seeing like a shit ton of Spawntons on these first 3 floors here. That the only way to get around this would be using your Liberty team. Wave 2, Cersei, Icarus, North Star, Miss Marvel Classic. So you're gonna want Kahori dead. You don't want Miss Marvel Classic to be around when or you don't want them both at the same time, right? And then Old Man Logan's a pretty big problem too. And then floor 56, we have now this starts at G19 level 100. For some reason, it dips and it's a little bit easier after doing floors 53 for 55. This does include Immortal X-Men. It's possible that you could clear some of this without Liberty, that you might be able to do Beast, Jean Grey, and Storm. That's what I'm thinking, right? And if you charge Storm up, you might be able to lay waste to one of these nodes. That's what I'm thinking that you could do, especially this 56 does not look that bad. Void Knight, Gwenom, Red Goblin, Lizard, Spider Slayer. These are older characters. Lizard, Craven, and Spider-Man Noir. Level 100 as well. So I think that this one, unless Void Knight gets someone into low and you get screwed early on, but I think there's a possibility that this could also be cleared. That being said, by running Liberty, Void Knight's not going to get his spawn speed bar, so it's just going to be easier anyways. So this is not a very challenging node. 57 is also G19 100. And this is Panda Pool, Old Man Logan, Dakin, Kahori again. So, okay, like maybe you might clear 56 with Immortal X-Men. I don't know if you're clearing 57 with without the Crucible buffs that Jean Grey has to stop Logan's turn bar, that kind of thing. And same with Kahori. And then you have another Miss Marvel Classic over here. And then you have Medusa, Panda Pool, and Hank Pym on Wave 2. Again, these look very challenging to the point where it's sort of screaming Liberty, in my opinion. Floors 58, we have, again, this is where it jumps actually to level 105. So this is going to be obviously the pressure on you being able to clear this, which is the final, I don't have the milestones still open, but, you know, that was worth a lot of points. Gladiator, Gore, Thanos Endgame, right? So no vulnerability or exposed, not that Liberty has any exposed. Cable, regular Cable. For a speed bar advantage, I guess, regular Emma Frost to give you a more speed advantage. Regular Doctor Strange, and then Ancient One, Man-Thing, and Blade. So, right off the bat, I mean, I think that Thanos is obviously, you know, triggering this at the wrong time, I think is really going to hurt. And it just doesn't sound that fun either, because you're 3-manning this against 6 of them to start. And I would say even the 3 Annihilators is tough. Cable, Emma Frost messing you about. If you don't have Safeguard up, Doctor Strange is going to flip your shit. And then if you don't kill him, he's going to revive people. And then, you know, there's a potential that, you know, these characters do a lot of damage when they drop down. So it's not a surefire thing. This actually does seem really challenging, which is good. I've been complaining about challenging content. So that's not what I'm not worried about that. I'm just saying that I don't think that this is probably going to be doable with Immortal X-Men or Mighty Avengers. I'm not saying it's impossible, but it looks really, really bad. So I would make sure that you've saved your resources to apply it to Liberty, because I think there is a good chance that you're probably going to have to do that. Based on what I've seen, I've already preemptively upgraded Falcon. I had Peggy already at 100, and then Capsam was already at 100 as well. I might have to take them to 105. I don't know yet. That's going to be an extra 30 million across the 3 characters if I have to do that. I've been I've been hoarding gold for a long time, so that's not a problem for me. But do keep in mind that this might be what you'll have to do. If you end up using Liberty over all 6 of the nodes, which is a good chance, you know, you absolutely need Falcon Joaquin because he's the support healer for the team. Whether or not Patriot has any value, you know, you'd basically have to take Patriot over Cav Salmon, and I don't think at low stars that's gonna go with me. I have like a 3-star Patriot. I don't see that being viable versus like my 2 diamond Capsam. Capsam is very strong and he's got a really good kit and he helps tank, so he's gonna keep people alive. So I think that's gonna be really important to getting this stuff cleared. But that's just my thoughts. Let me know what yours are in the comments down below. I hope this was helpful, and I'll see you guys on the next video. And if you like this video, make sure you hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and you'll be greatly helping out the channel. Have a great day, and I'll see you guys on the next one.